Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're a regular subscriber, but if you're new, please consider subscribing to my channel and join the family and follow my videos. Yeah, today I want to talk to you guys about some 3 groups of people that you should be very wary about. You should be very careful about when you come to a country like the UK. So, one of these people, yeah, I'm just entering the park, guys. I love this park because it's really nice and quiet. I get to have my alone time, you know, just to think and have some peace. Yeah, this is I love this park. Just love sitting here and letting my mind wander around. So, let me sit over here. I think this is a really good seat. Yeah, guys. Yeah. So, as I was saying, there are 3 groups of people in this country that you have to be very careful about. The third one, you might say, doesn't fall under the category of people. But trust me, in this country, the third one is people. And I'll explain later. So, the first group of people in that category is children. You have to be very, 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 and I stress very careful about how you treat children in this country. Children are at the very, very top of the list. Number 2 that closely follows children is the women. Women in these countries are very, very catered for and protected. Women in this country have a lot of rights, more rights than men, I'd actually say. Yeah, women have more rights than men in this country. And the third category of people that you have to be careful about when you come to this country are the pets. Believe it or not, pets in this country, in my opinion, fall under the category of people. Pets are not just pets. In this country, pets are considered part of the family. All right? So, while in Africa, you're going to look at a dog as a pet, and basically a dog as an extension of your security. In this country, dogs and cats are members of the family. All right? So, I've said children, I've said women, and I've said pets. So, let me explain. All right? So, in this country, anybody who's under the age of 18 is considered a child. All right? And they have so many rights as children, and also there are so many safeguards and protection that they're given. Just today, on my way to the park, I was walking on the road, and just behind me I could hear some kids chatting and giggling behind me. So when they caught up to me and they were just about to pass, one of them like asked, "Excuse me, could you do us a favor?" So I looked, and there were like 4 girls. They were like 15 or 16 years old, which are underage. And I was just wondering, what could it be? What is it that they wanted to talk to me about? What kind of help did they want? So I asked them, okay, yeah, what is it? So they were like, could you please do us a favor? First of all, they were reluctant to talk. I saw like they didn't want to say when I asked, what is it? And then one of them was like, I'd like you to go to the shop and buy us some vapes. Look at that dog. Dots. Yeah, people are walking their dogs. I'll tell you about the dogs later. So these 4 girls underage, they come to me, could you do us a favor? What favor? Could you please go to the shop? We're going to give you some money. Please go to the shop and buy for us a vape. Now, for some of you who don't know what a vape is, because when I came to this country, I had no idea what a vape was. I was only familiar with cigarettes, you know, the filtered and unfiltered cigarettes, maybe the ones that are, you know, you make for yourself with the Rizlas and you light with the matchbox or the lighters. Those are the only cigarettes I knew. I didn't know really about vapes until I came to this country. Now, vapes are these electronic cigarettes. They come in different shapes, different sizes, and they've got something like a coil. So they've got this liquid inside it that's flavored, and it also contains nicotine at different percentages depending on the brand you buy. All right. So they have different flavors like bubble gum, you know, like apple, like fruits, you know, like banana, strawberry. Very nice smelling flavors, right? But also there are these ones that have some chemicals that get people high, you know, including weed. All right. So, you know, obviously those kids by that age, the way I just looked at them, I knew what type of vapes they were looking for. And even if it wasn't that type of vape, it's illegal anyway, because you are not allowed they are not allowed to buy vapes because they're underage. And the shops are also not allowed to sell vapes to underage kids. So basically they wanted me to go and buy the vapes for them, because I'm obviously an adult, and then come and hand it to them, right? Which basically would be breaking the law. So I just politely declined and said, no, sorry, I can't help you. So they kept pushing. They were like, oh, please, we'll be your friend. Please, we'll be your friend. Please go and buy. When I heard we'll be your friend, I just saw the police cell. I saw police handcuffs. And then I saw the Kenya Airways plane back to Nairobi. I'm telling you, the way I just walked off, just said, no, I can't, and walked off. My people. That's not the way I'm going to go out in this country, I'm telling you. No, 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 no. You see, there's there's this program I saw once. I just can't remember the name, but there were these undercover cops, right? Who were basically setting people up because they'd go online on Facebook and pretend to be an underage child, you know, like say they're 16, what, blah, and then want to chat you up and then somehow, you know, propose that you meet in a park, you meet wherever. And then when you show up, because the picture, they might put a picture that looks like an adult. But you know, these days, kids, you can't really tell. You know, at the age of 16, kids in Europe tend to look older than they actually are. You know, it's not really like Africa. Here, kids generally look older than they are. All right. So a 16-year-old would easily go for a 22, claim she's 22, 23, and yeah, you wouldn't deny. You know, you'd say, yeah, she does look 23, but she's 16 maybe, you know. So in this program, these cops are actually trying to set people up and get people arrested, you know, because the moment you chat up with this, whoever the person you think is someone else and who's actually the cops, they suggest, oh, why don't we meet at a park maybe like this? And then you describe, yeah, what will you be wearing? Oh, I'll be wearing this. Maybe they've already seen your profile picture, and before you know it, the cops show up. Oh, you're the one who's chatting up small kids, you know, you're a pedophile, you're this, you're that, you know. So when I had these girls telling me to go and get them a vape, I'm telling you, my guy, I just remembered that program. I was like, this is how they can be setting people up. The moment you go to the shop, you buy that vape. The moment you just hand it over, it's just like drugs, you know. The police can follow you up carrying drug money or drugs, and just the moment that exchange happens, you're arrested, you know. It's always in the exchange. So the moment you show up there, meaning that you actually had the intention of meeting up with this underage child or whatever, you're arrested. You know, the moment you buy a vape and you hand it over to an underage, you've broken the law, you know, because you know that the underage child is not supposed to be having access to this particular thing, but you are bypassing the law by going and getting it on their behalf. All right. And before you know it, I just saw that and I was like, no, sorry. I went my way, minding my own business. I don't want any trouble at all, you know, because in this country, if you're an immigrant, the best you can do is keep your record clean. If it's not asking for directions or asking for help, do not get yourself mixed up with the police for whichever reason. Do not mix yourself with the police. All right? So that's women. All right? Now, another thing is that's children. The second thing is women. All right? In this country, women have a lot of rights. I think this country would be the epitome of feminists. You know, it would be like women in this country have more rights. Actually, they do. They have more rights than men. You know, back in Africa, if you were to have a disagreement with your wife, and then you have to say something like, oh, look, get out of my house, you know, it won't be looked at like such a big deal, you know. Like if someone has a disagreement even with his wife in public, maybe he shouts at her, people are more like it's none of their business, and they're like, you know, those are issues, you know. Women are kind of troublesome everywhere, you know. So people are like, that's a private private problem. We don't want to get involved. But in this country, I'm telling you, it's not even about being violent or even the fact that you shouted, leave alone trying to do, just shouting alone, that would be considered verbal abuse or psychological abuse. You know, you cannot shout. Even children. You know, I didn't finish about the children. The children, you cannot shout at a child. You cannot pinch a child. You cannot slap a child. You know, in this country, I think the worst you can do is like go to your room or go to the corner. The kid just takes their phone, the laptop, they go to the corner, they go to their room, watch videos, and I mean, you know, maybe they've refused to, whatever they've refused to do, there's nothing much you can do, you know. Some of us grew up, you don't wait to be told something twice. By the end of the second statement, by the time your father repeats it for the second time, he's already on you, you know. And for most of the children growing up in Africa, we went through discipline, right? And the version of discipline in Africa is basically spare the rod and spoil the child. That's what it is. That's basically what discipline looks like back in Africa. It's corporal punishment, basically. Hello. It's basically corporal punishment, whether in the house or at school, you know. Funnily enough, I think in Africa, it's usually the mothers who are more the disciplinarians in the family. It's usually the mothers. They have this look they just give you. You just know, okay, let me just get ready for a whooping, a proper one. You come to the house, you know, you've done a problem, try to run away, thinking that you're not going to come back to the house. You come back to the house, you find your mom waiting for you there. She grabs you, sweeps you off your feet with whichever means, maybe even raises you up with your ears, slaps you, you know, drags you on the floor, stomps on you, gets the cane. I mean, that's normal, and we went through that, and we came out we didn't come out so bad. We didn't die. We survived. And something that I got out of all this is like African kids. You know, when I was in Africa, I hadn't noticed this, but you notice it when you leave Africa. African kids are actually very disciplined. African kids are very, very disciplined. Come to some of these countries and just compare, and you'll see that African kids are generally more disciplined. You know, the tough-headedness and arrogance scared the shit out of them when they were young. I mean, they see adults, they just see whips and belts and whatever, you know. Because when I was growing up, a stranger could actually discipline, like corporal punishment, physically discipline a child on the road. Like when we are from school going to the house and then we start playing on the road, cars are passing, or we start fighting, a random stranger would just come, maybe it's a mother, just comes, takes off her slippers and starts whooping you, you know. Or a man just comes, he plucks a stick from the tree, calls you, and then you go, and then he gives you some two strokes, go home, run to the house. And that was usual. That's normal. And it isn't just like my country, it's all countries in Africa. That's just the way it was. And kids were very, very disciplined. But in this country, you touch a child. I think if you were to cane a child even in public, leave alone Yeah, in public, I think you'd be arrested on the spot, you know. And also, kids have this power. There's this. Uh, is it the children's department? All right. You can, if you're reported, you can actually be arrested, and your 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 child can be taken away. All right. You can be arrested and your child taken away. Yeah, by the social services. All right. A child simply just has to call that number and say, "Oh, I've been assaulted by my parent, or my parents done this," and then before you know it, a social worker's at your door, and they listen to the kids more than they listen to adults. So you can find yourself in a lot of trouble. All right. That's why when those kids were telling me about buying them a vape, I had to run away. I don't want trouble, you know. Yeah. So I was also talking about the women. The women in this country, they have a lot of power. You have a disagreement with your wife, and all she has to do is just call the police and say, "My husband has verbally assaulted me, and this and this happened. Hello, how are you? You okay?" Yeah. So women have a lot of power in this country. I was saying, like, back at home, you find, like, in the streets, especially Africa, maybe the ghettos, in the street you find ladies passing, girls passing by, and the boys, the men are like whistling, making jokes, you know, describing them, their anatomy, you know, saying just silly stuff, you know, men silly stuff. And in Africa, women are just used to that. They just laugh it off or just ignore, and sometimes even find that they feel kind of like you know, they feel like they're being noticed, you know. Sometimes they feel like, yeah, flattered, kind of, you know. But in this country, you can't do that. You cannot whistle at a random person on the street, make these funny comments and stuff like that. That is sexual assault, right? That is sexual harassment. And you can be arrested for that, you know. That's why I say in Africa, I mean, in Africa, there are a lot of things that we kind of like take for granted that happen there, and it's not such a big deal, you know. Because if we were using the laws in this country, I'd say that all parents in Africa would have been arrested, you know, because then that means that everybody's physically assaulting their kids, you know. That would mean that everybody's verbally assaulting their kids. And it would also mean that everybody is psychologically torturing their kids, because that's what they call it here. You know, you shout at your kid, you know, the kids, the next thing you know, they're suggesting the kids need some kind of therapy. The kids need to be taken to hospital. You know, the kids need some sessions. So it's crazy. You know, people are just going for a walk in the park. People are just having walks in the park today. I like this place. I just like chilling here and sitting down. Yeah. So as I was saying, children have a lot of power. Be very, very careful how you deal with children. Women have a lot of power in this country. Do not mess with that. It's very easy for a woman to set you up in this country if you're not careful. It's very, very easy to be set up by a woman in this country if you're not very careful. Yeah, so you just keep off. All right. In this country, there's nothing like men's rights. It doesn't exist. You know, like in Africa and maybe the Arab countries, where um, where you'd say that it's a man's world. All right. That women are kind of subject to men. No, here, uh, men and women are not even actually equal. Here, women are more powerful than the men. Yeah. So another thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is pets. All right, in this country, pets you do not mess with. All right. Uh, Back at home, animals like dogs are considered, they're considered an extension of the home security. All right. But in this country, pets are considered, they're considered practically part of the family. All right. Because you just have to go to the supermarket and have a look. If you're not careful, if you're new and you're not careful and you don't read the labels on the shelves, you can end up buying dog food thinking that it's human food. Because if you look at the quality of the meat itself and the packaging and everything, you would consider that it's human food. All right. Now, I like to give you an example. I don't know if you can see the dog over there walking with the guy over there. Now, in this country, there are no like what would I say? There are no stray dogs. If you see a stray dog, it's just a dog that's off the leash. It's not stray, and the owner of the dog is just some meters behind or just around. All right. There are no stray animals in this country. Totally none. All right. So animals in this country have a lot of rights, and they are treated basically like part of the family. You go to a restaurant, you find people just come into the restaurant with dogs. The dog just sits there. They eat their food. The dog's given its food, you know. And some of you guys who are African, imagine if it's Africa, you're going to a restaurant and someone walks in with a dog. Just imagine what would happen. I don't have to say what would happen, but you guys know. Someone wanting to enter a restaurant where people are eating with a dog. Here, that's normal. I mean, it's not such a big deal, you know. People having dogs in their cars, dogs in their houses, you know. Back at home, dogs basically live in the kennel. In the kennel, if at all you do make your dog a kennel. But a lot of them just sleep outside, you know. They just sleep outside the house, because basically their job isn't to sleep in the first place. Their job is to take care of the security, you know. So dogs are very, you see, for example, back at home, I was telling you, at home there are no stray dogs. You see, like here, the dogs are brought, they come to the field, they're playing, you know, like those ones are on a leash. Some of the others are being walked around, you know. And from after this, after they come with the dogs to the field, they go back with the dogs to the houses. The dogs stay in the houses, all right? Not like ours that are always outside, just roaming around. You just go to the streets, you find dogs wandering all over the place. Here, if you see a dog off the leash, it's a tame dog. Even the dogs on the leash are tame, you know. It's just that in certain places you are not allowed. It's against the law for you to have your dog off the leash. All right, it has to be on a leash. So you have to be very, very careful of how you treat dogs and pets in this country. Actually, yeah, dogs, cats, hamsters, rabbits, all these pets, you know. And in fact, any animal, even the wild one, even the foxes, the squirrels, respect. It's not in, like, even in this place, there's so many squirrels. There's so many squirrels in these trees over here, right? It's not like back at home where we are always constantly in a hunting mode. I mean, you see the squirrel, and then the same dog that these guys say it's a pet, you get the dog to chase the squirrel, you know. But even the dogs themselves, they respect the squirrel. So so it's just crazy. It's I mean, it's just upside down. Everything's upside down, you know. In Africa, we've chased the wild animals until I can't remember the last time I saw a squirrel when I was in Africa, you know. But they're there, you know. And what usually happens is that the squirrels in this country are so used to people that they are not even scared. You walk towards it, it doesn't even run away, you know, because people don't touch them. People leave them alone, you know. People don't touch the squirrels, people leave them alone, because generally animals are very, very respected in this country. So when you come to countries like this, you have to know that there are some things that can easily get you in trouble. You can easily find yourself locked up, you know, just because of, if it's your own dog, neglecting the dog, not feeding it, letting the dog wander around, locking the dog in the house without letting it out for a walk. That also is against the law. You can't just lock your dog in the house without, like in Africa, the way you lock the dog in the kennel the whole day and then leave it out at night. Here you cannot lock dogs like that, you know. You have to take them for a walk. If it's in public, let them out in the house to run around, you know. So those are things you have to know. You keep your distance. Don't have any funny interactions with children. Do not abuse children verbally, physically, whichever way. Respect the women, whichever way. Do not disrespect, abuse verbally, physically. And the pets. Respect pets. Do not abuse pets, nothing like that, and you'll be fine. Alright? So, those are the three things that you have to know. And the things that you have to be very, very, very careful about. So here is the park, and yeah, that's just what I wanted to discuss with you guys. I want to head home. Now. Go to the house, mind my own business, leave the women alone, leave the children alone, leave the pets alone. I'm not even interested in having a pet, you know. I like dogs, especially like German Shepherds and those type of dogs, but no. So guys, I guess I'll see you guys on my next video. I want to go back to the house, take a rest now, because it's starting to get a bit cold, and I think I'll talk to you guys on the next video. So please do remember to subscribe to my channel, and see you guys. All right, bye.